Who really is Hamas? An enigma, a freedom fighter, a terrorist organization, or a legitimate political entity? This question lies at the heart of one of the most complex and contentious issues of our time. Hamas is an organization that elicits a myriad of views, perspectives, and emotions. For some, it symbolizes the struggle for freedom and justice, while for others, it epitomizes fear, terror, and instability. In the intricate tapestry of Middle Eastern geopolitics, Hamas is a thread that weaves a pattern of controversy, conflict, and complexity. From its inception to its ascendancy, from its military tactics to its future prospects, the story of Hamas is as multifaceted as it is influential. Whether viewed as a legitimate political body championing the cause of the Palestinian people, or as a terrorist organization threatening regional peace, Hamas's role and impact can't be understated. Its actions and ideologies have shaped and redefined the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East in profound ways. In this video, we will delve into the intricate world of Middle Eastern geopolitics to uncover the truth about Hamas. The roots of Hamas can be traced back to the late 80s, amidst the tumultuous backdrop of the First Intifada. It was the year 1987, a time when the Palestinian territories were in the throes of an uprising against Israeli occupation. This was a period of tension and unrest, an environment that was ripe for the birth of a new entity. Hamas, an acronym for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyya, or the Islamic Resistance Movement, was established in this volatile climate. The organization drew its ideological roots from the Muslim Brotherhood, a socio-religious political group that originated in Egypt in the early 20th century. The Brotherhood's core principles of social justice, political activism, and Islamic charity provided a blueprint for Hamas's own mission and strategy. The socio-political landscape at the time of Hamas's formation played a critical role in shaping its identity. The First Intifada had created a vacuum of leadership and representation for the Palestinian people. Hamas stepped into this void not just as a militant group but also as a social movement. It established a network of social services including schools, hospitals, and religious institutions. These initiatives were not merely acts of charity, but strategic moves to win the hearts and minds of the Palestinian people. By addressing the social and economic needs of the populace, Hamas was able to build a base of popular support. But the formation of Hamas wasn't just a response to the immediate circumstances of the First Intifada. It was also a reaction to the broader historical context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Hamas challenged the existing Palestinian leadership, presenting itself as a more militant and uncompromising alternative. Its charter, released in 1988, called for the liberation of Palestine and the establishment of an Islamic state. Thus, Hamas emerged as a force to reckon with, deeply rooted in the socio-political fabric of Palestine. In the early 2000s, Hamas made a significant shift from purely militant activities to political participation. This transition was marked by their participation in the 2006 Palestinian Legislative Council elections, which turned out to be a game-changer for the organization. To the surprise of many, Hamas won the majority, securing 74 of the 132 seats, effectively outpacing their rival, Fatah. This win can be attributed to a combination of internal and external factors. Internally, the Palestinian populace was disillusioned with the rampant corruption within the Fatah-led Palestinian Authority. Externally, the democratic push by the international community, particularly the United States, provided an opportune moment for Hamas to legitimize their standing. However, Hamas's victory was met with a mixed reaction on the global stage. On one side, there was a stark refusal to acknowledge their legitimacy, particularly from Israel and the United States, who continued to view Hamas as a terrorist organization. On the other side, some argued for engagement, viewing this as a chance to bring Hamas into the fold of political negotiation. The ascendancy of Hamas to political power also led to a geographical split in the Palestinian territories. The West Bank remained under Fatah's control, while Gaza came under the control of Hamas. This division further complicated the already complex Palestinian political landscape. Yet, despite the international isolation, Hamas managed to cement its rule in Gaza. They leveraged their reputation as resistance fighters and providers of social services to gain public support. Over time, they also developed a complex network of funding, including support from countries like Iran and Qatar, and control over various companies in regions like Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, and Algeria. Hamas's political ascendancy marked a new chapter in its history, complicating the Middle Eastern geopolitical landscape even further. This shift from militancy to governance not only redefined their role but also reshaped the dynamics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the ripple effects of which are felt to this day. Hamas's military tactics, particularly its use of rocket attacks and suicide bombings, have been a subject of international controversy. This organization has demonstrated a certain level of resourcefulness and adaptability in its military operations. Over the years, Hamas has made use of a variety of tactics, ranging from rocket attacks to suicide bombings, and even the strategic use of tunnels. To begin with, the bulk of Hamas's firepower comes from a large arsenal of homemade rockets developed with civilian materials and, it is believed, Iranian expertise. Despite the majority of these rockets being short-range and relatively unsophisticated, they have been a significant factor in the conflicts with Israel. Hamas's ability to produce these low-cost weapons presents a unique challenge for those seeking to limit its military capabilities. In addition to rockets, suicide bombings have been another controversial tactic employed by Hamas. These attacks have been met with widespread condemnation for the indiscriminate harm they cause to civilian populations. Despite the international outcry, these bombings have been a recurring feature in Hamas's repertoire of military tactics. Perhaps one of the most sophisticated aspects of Hamas's military operations is its use of tunnels. These underground passageways serve multiple purposes, including smuggling supplies, evading detection, and launching surprise attacks. The strategic use of these tunnels has significantly complicated efforts to counter Hamas's activities. However, these tactics have not been without consequences. The international community has responded with sanctions and other measures aimed at limiting Hamas's ability to wage war. This in turn has had an impact on Hamas's standing in the global arena, further isolating the group and complicating its efforts to gain political legitimacy. Moreover, the human cost of these tactics cannot be overstated. The violence has resulted in significant casualties and widespread destruction, affecting the lives of ordinary Palestinians and Israelis alike. These military tactics have not only drawn international condemnation but also significantly impacted the lives of ordinary Palestinians and Israelis. As we look towards the future, the role of Hamas in the Middle East remains uncertain. This uncertainty is not only a product of the volatile nature of Middle Eastern politics, but also stems from the intricate and multifaceted character of Hamas itself. One potential future scenario sees Hamas continuing on its current path of resistance and conflict. With an arsenal of homemade rockets and a network of underground tunnels, Hamas has proven its ability to wage a protracted struggle, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. The organization's ability to manufacture rockets using civilian materials, coupled with the financial support it receives from various sources, suggests that its military capabilities could persist if not grow in the years to come. However, a different scenario could emerge, one that sees Hamas engaging in political solutions. Despite its militant tactics, Hamas is also a political entity, one that has controlled the Gaza Strip since 2007. It has shown a capacity to govern and a willingness to engage in political negotiations, albeit on its own terms. The future could potentially see a further politicization of Hamas, with the organization embracing diplomacy more fully as a means to achieve its objectives. Yet another possible future involves a shift in Hamas's ideological stance. While it's hard to predict precisely what form this shift would take, it's worth noting that ideologies are not static. They evolve in response to changing circumstances and strategic considerations. A shift in Hamas's ideology could have profound implications for its relationship with Israel and its role within Palestinian society. Finally, it's important to recognize that these scenarios are not mutually exclusive. Hamas could continue its resistance while also engaging in political negotiations and adjusting its ideological stance. What is clear, however, is that the future of Hamas will have significant implications for the broader Middle Eastern geopolitics. In the ever-evolving geopolitical landscape of the Middle East, the role and impact of Hamas remain as complex and controversial as ever. In this complex world of Middle Eastern geopolitics, Hamas continues to be a key player, for better or worse. Born amidst conflict and resistance, Hamas's growth has been marked by political ascendancy and distinct military tactics. Their ability to create homemade rockets, coupled with funding and instruction from external entities, has resulted in an arsenal that continues to challenge Israel and the international community. Hamas's story is not just about militancy, it's about a political entity born out of conflict, whose actions and strategies are deeply intertwined with the socio-economic fabric of Gaza. It's about an organization that receives funding from nations like Qatar and operates businesses in countries far from its home base. It's about a group that, despite its controversial tactics, continues to hold sway over the hearts and minds of many Palestinians. The future of Hamas is uncertain, shaped by evolving regional dynamics, international pressures, and the resilient spirit of the people it represents. As we delve deeper into the world of Middle Eastern geopolitics, it's crucial to keep exploring, keep questioning, and strive for a nuanced understanding of entities like Hamas. As we continue to decode the complexities of entities like Hamas, we move closer to understanding the intricate world of geopolitics. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.